Good morning, Paul. How you going?
Morning? Did you just assume my schedule?
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Three Views on podcast for the third week in a row. Guys, we have been doing fantastic.
That's impressive.
It's good to see you boys.
Yeah,
Yeah. After such a long sabbatical, we've managed to do 3 in a row.
3 in a row. Look, what was our record? Do you know, Simon?
A lot.
Was that first or second season quite big?
Second was like 30 something.
30
I
episodes.
think the first was 30 and the second was...
Let's be real, we were
Yeah.
all single pretty much and had nothing really going on. So
That's pretty true.
not
Except
the feat-
Michael, who had everything going on.
Yeah, true.
No, I was very
Including
free
the
most of the
podcast.
time. Yeah, that was good.
Compared to now, yeah.
Well, you make,
You were still
you
busy.
make what you do at the
Well,
time.
what's changed? Well, I guess that leads it dovetails into the topic for tonight's show, doesn't it?
It does very well. Today we're going to be talking about shift work. All right. We all have some experience with shift work, but today, just for you, our friends of the podcast, we have a special treat, something that has not ever happened before. To kick off today's talk about shift work, we have Elby, the famous Elby Matthews, as seen in the photo of Paul and Elby's wedding, and that's about it. She's going to tell us what her thoughts are about shift work to kick off the whole discussion. So, Elbs, what are your thoughts on shift work?
I don't do shift work.
And there you have it, guys. Elby Matthews on shift work.
Hey, well done.
Yeah, she's done
Great to have
fantastic.
her along.
Look, Elby,
Fantastic
if you
guest.
want, that was so good. You could run that, and that could be the start of your single podcast series.
You could have a
Elby
spin-off.
Matthews, yeah.
A spin-off podcast.
We'll even give you advertising space on our website for free.
Significant. Yeah, that's
It
a
is.
significant offer from 3 media moguls.
Do you know what's great about our podcast? 3 of us
Nothing.
invest our time into making this, and we have about 3 people that listen to it. So kind of evens out.
I feel
on
like in the
other
glory
end.
days, we were getting close to 30.
Oh, yeah, it was great.
No, we would boys. We were kings. Like we were on the top 100 for comedy in Australia for some time. And
On
how
iTunes.
many? Yeah, on iTunes. And we were a big deal. How many downloads have we got?
It's into
over
the
10,000.
thousands, Yeah.
I thought it was like 100,000.
No, 10,000.
We're not
Over
actual
10,000 since we've been on Podbean, since we swapped from season halfway through season
Now we don't
1.
need to get bogged down with all the minutiae here. All that to say that if you are listening, you've stumbled across a pretty big deal. Let that be known. There
This
are
is
other
the
people.
podcast to be listening to.
Other people who have tried and failed. We have tried and succeeded, then threw it away because we didn't want it. But anyway,
You know, when you were saying 30 listeners there, I mean, I remember, season 1, season 2, in a fortnight, an episode would get, 200 listens. That's pretty good.
All right, so get this. Just check the stats again. In the last 90 days, how many episodes have we released?
Zero.
Zero.
Yeah, for months.
There have been 35 downloads in the last 90 days.
That's pretty good.
With zero effort.
okay, so it's just ticking along at about 1 every 3 days. In the glory days,
it's going better than Bitcoin, is what it's doing. Our listens are growing more than Paul's Bitcoin.
It's funny. So the difference between that and Bitcoin is that I haven't hemorrhaged any money on the podcast recently. Yeah, that's the main difference.
Elby's smirking over on the side there.
Yeah,
It's trying not to
a
react.
very nuanced facial expression, which is hiding a sort of subtle weep. It's a smirk / cry for help.
I was hoping to come home and go to bed, and there are people in my house who are just talking.
What is going on?
But, so we're here today to talk about shift work.
We are.
Yeah.
Because we're all doing shift work now, as is our part and parcel in life now.
I'd just like to say I started that fad. I
You
went
did.
there
We
I went
all
there first.
followed you. Yeah.
I feel like
Yep.
shift work's been around for a few years longer than you, Simon.
True. I just been with us. But
Yes. So Simon, as the veteran of shift work, tell us, what do you think?
what do I think? I reckon it's a really average way to live. It's not terrible. It's not great. But it's hard. You can work through it. You can have a decent life, but it takes a lot of planning, and you've got to have a good employer too. I
Yeah.
reckon one of the big things, because if you're in a really small pool of workers, there's no scope for you to swap shifts. If you've got a really poor roster officer, you can be rostered, like your roster might be finishing in 2 days' time, and you just get the next week's start roster. I'm pretty fortunate where I am now in the emergency department because we have over 200 nurses
Wow.
on the roster. So swaps are easy. You get the request roster, so you can just fill out whatever shifts you want to do and what days you definitely need off. And that's 6 weeks before it happens. before the roster starts that comes out.
That's a serious operation.
So I get like 8 weeks notice on shifts.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, and that's super good. And I think if it was any worse, I don't think I'd like it very much at all.
Yeah.
I can handle it at the moment.
Because Simon, you actually were 9 to 5ing for a season, weren't you? When you were working with the old guys.
Yeah. So it was like 7 till 1 or 7 till 3. That's the day shift, and then like a 3 till 10:30, 11 o'clock kind of thing in the afternoon. So
Okay.
I'd still have earlies and lates, and like late earlies, so finishing late and starting early the next
I
morning.
love the late early.
Hate them. But it is a good way to get 2 shifts done very quickly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's very true.
We all know it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't do night shifts until I started at the hospital.
Sure. And what are your thoughts of like a night shift?
A night shift.
If you had one word to describe a night shift, what would it be?
Sucky.
Oh,
Sucky. There you
sorry, I
go.
talked over you there,
All right,
Simon.
Paul, your turn now. You've jumped in ahead, so we already have your word for describing a night
morose.
shift.
Pig. Yeah,
Pig.
it's
Yeah,
a pig.
pig.
Yep.
Cool. Tell us about your experience, because you're the baby in the shift work.
I am. Yep. Just
I
in the
think,
room,
yeah.
generally, any given number of people, I am usually the baby. But in this specific example, yes, also the baby with shift work. So I'm a disability support worker,
Yes.
and obviously people don't stop being disabled overnight.
No, preferably they're disabled all the time.
Yes, I mean,
as the schemes go.
if
yeah.
they're genuinely disabled, they will be disabled 24/7, including Christmas, Easter, and public holidays.
Spot on.
And so that is when we work, which is all the time. So it is interesting. Yeah. So probably the hardest thing, I'm trying to marry my passions here. So one of them, I preach at my home church,
Yes.
which is in Hobart, and I start my shift 3 p.m. Saturday.
Yeah.
And then I finish that shift on 3 p.m. Sunday, and then I go to church at 4 o'clock,
Wow.
and often am just a dead man on stage, just a complete dead man.
I know you
wow.
do get to sleep through some of your night shift.
God willing.
How much sleep would you, on an average night shift,
Simon,
get?
there are so many contingencies.
Yeah,
there are
yeah,
so
I
many
get
things,
that.
as you would know. It's have the guys eaten well? Is everything flushing through them well? Like, have they had any unnecessary stimulation? All these questions are sort of in your mind as you're laying there being like, did I hear a creak? Oh no. Because bad things can happen. Like
for sure.
if guys
Yeah.
are just mucking around, like you come out and the electric fry pan's on full gas with a metal saucepan in it or something, like, and like routinely that happens. So it's a fire hazard. You got to keep your wits about you. You develop
yeah.
a very light
Yeah.
sleep. I don't know if you guys have ever catch dozes at work, but you develop this very, very light sleep where anything will wake you up because it has to,
Yeah.
so you don't burn down the place.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
So I can see why nights are a pig for you. Really.
They are a pig. I often get good sleep. I
Okay.
often get good sleep. I will routinely get
that's
5 or 6 hours, which for a time where you're meant to kind of be working but allowed to sleep, that's great news.
Mm.
You take that.
definitely
Not bad at all. It's not bad to be paid to sleep.
One of the perks, yeah.
I do reckon it'd be a bit weird though. Like, we know that we have to stay awake all night,
Mm-hmm.
and like that's what we do. Is it really frustrating after a while when you can't sleep? Like, I could sleep, like I'm
Yeah.
allowed to sleep,
Yeah.
but you guys are keeping me up. Just go to sleep and we can all go to sleep. Whereas with me, I'm like, I've got to be awake. That's how it is. You just gotta
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is very frustrating because there's always that game. Like, is there more that I could be getting here? Could I actually already be asleep at this current point in time? And that's a question that will eat away at your brain, being like, guys, I could be sleeping right now.
time.
Exactly. So it's
not great.
It ain't. It's all about expectations. If you go and being like, I'm not going to get a shred, you could get 4 hours and be happy.
Yeah.
But if you go in expecting your 8 hours every single time, you will be a very upset support worker.
Yeah, that's right. And that's not good for the people you're working for either.
No, exactly. I've seen. No, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that. Anyway, let's move.
Moving
let's move
right
on.
along?
What about
Sure.
you, Michael?
Shift work for me isn't too bad. I quite enjoy it. I'm one of the rare breed that actually like shift work.
Well, mate, you are. Yeah.
I am. a
that
rare
would
breed.
make
You're
sense.
red breed in almost
Weird.
every way.
That's very true. I have a lot of weird things that I do,
Yeah.
and one of them is that I love shift work. 9 to 5, I find exhausting.
Really?
Okay.
Mm.
It's just that I have to get up early in the morning, and then grind out the whole day.
A 9 o'clock start is not early.
Well, it's not actually 9. It's at 8, and I have to get there about 7:30.
Yeah.
Leave home at about 6:30.
It's amazing how quickly you do the maths back on that. You're
Yeah.
like, oh, it's a long day.
Yep. So I'm out of the house at 6:30, and not usually home till 6:30 at night.
Yeah.
So they add up.
It's gross.
Yeah. But I mean, what I like about shift work is that's the day shift.
Yeah.
But I only do 3 of those in a row.
Yeah.
Which means you can kind of go hard and pay your dues and do it well, and then have a couple of days off and recover,
Yeah.
and then come back and do a run of afternoons.
How good and how relaxing and how quiet is the midweek weekend?
Oh,
Does anyone else enjoy that?
Yeah, my
Mhm.
weekend's Tuesday, Wednesday.
Exactly. Everyone else is at work. You don't have to go to 5 social functions. You can
Yep.
just sit there, do what you want to do.
Literally sleep
do
until
nothing.
5 if you want.
Exactly. It's an actual relaxing weekend.
And if you need to go to the bank, you can.
Yeah. That's
Amen,
right. Or
brother.
the post office to pick up a parcel. You
Service
9 to
Taz.
5ers, you know what we're talking about.
It's funny how good it is. Like, there are some things where you're like, I don't know how anyone else does this any other way.
No.
Shopping, grocery shopping.
Mhm.
Just go on the quietest set. Go on a Wednesday morning. No one there.
Wednesday about 10. No one is in the shops.
It is
Yeah.
fantastic. So there is an element of extreme liberation.
Oh,
and
yeah.
so I still, as I said, with my shift from 3 p.m. Saturday till the same time Sunday, I still have from 9 basically till 3 to do stuff. So
Yeah.
you can still, but picking up on what you
That's
said.
only because you sleep, though.
And afternoon shifts are the best.
yes.
They just are the best shifts.
Are they?
So you like
Oh, yeah.
finishing late at
I'll
night?
happily
I
finish
much
at midnight.
prefer an early to a
Oh,
late.
Yeah, same here, Simon.
No, no.
Yeah.
Because then you get the whole morning to sort of slowly ease into the day. You can get up at 10, have some late brekkie, get some jobs done in the morning, potter around. If you want to go visit someone, have lunch with people, you can do that.
True.
That's
and
one.
then just cruise on into work,
That's one side
come
of the
home
fence.
from work, go to bed.
The other side of the fence is you pot around, do not much, and do nothing, and you've wasted half the day, and then you go to work and you come home and you go to bed. You've done nothing. On an early, and you can't go out to do any event, any time anyone invites you for
Yeah.
dinner, because everyone else finishes work in the evening and they have the
That's
evening free,
true.
so you can't do anything. Can't go to any concerts. Can't go to any meetings, anything like that. On an early, you finish at 4 or 3 or 5 or whatever. You can go to someone's place for dinner. You can get an early night. You know,
Yeah, this is why I think that
And-
shift work
and you can do
is
stuff.
great because it rotates around.
Yeah,
It's true.
I could
That's
not
true.
be the kind of person who is just like on a month of nights.
Yeah.
That would kill me, like absolutely kill me.
And those people are weird people. That happens. The permanent night shift.
You were
nurses.
saying that when we were off air, Simon. You were talking about people who are doing permanent nights.
all the really strange personalities at work have spent some time in their career, maybe a couple of years, doing permanent nights.
just fermenting.
But these guys are super rich. Like they
Oh, you
spend,
make
they
a
spent
lot of
2
money.
years with no social life, not being awake during the daytime,
Zero.
not seeing people.
Yes.
So
They just get up, go to
depressing.
work,
Yeah.
sleep during the day.
Yeah.
Probably were actually clinically depressed during that time from lack of sunlight. But
Yeah, like the vitamin D alone would start to cook you goose. But
Yeah.
there's a number of things which would cook you about that I just think. I mean, there are certain shifts that are just so bad. Like, say, people who do nights forever. You're like, okay, you could do that, and there might be more money in it, but that's a very significant life choice you're making.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Like, you're kissing a lot of things goodbye by saying yes to that.
Sunlight is one of the main
Sunlight.
Yes.
Yeah. Exactly.
I never want to see the sun again. It's that kind of
ones. Yeah, I
person.
spent 3 months in the dark.
Oh,
It's
man.
like living in Antarctica.
Yes.
Yeah.
Having said that, though, night shifts are my favourite shift.
No.
Talk to me about why.
Yeah. So I'm awake at night.
Just naturally.
Just naturally. Like,
That's your sort
Yeah.
of rhythm.
get to 10 or 11 at night, and I'm probably at my most alert.
Ah, here we
Thinking
go.
well, very clear.
It's very
and I
convenient.
have no issues staying up till 2 or 3 in the morning.
Whoa.
That's
okay.
fine. I've always been for quite some time.
Okay.
It's the early hours of the morning, the 7 to 9 that gets me.
Oh,
Which
really?
is right at the end of my shift. So that really drags me down. But, around that time,
But does
things
that
don't go too bad.
At the end of the shift, the 7 to 9.
But that's the end of the
doesn't-
shift. No
yeah.
one expects you to be awake
Yeah,
at that
yeah.
time of the
that
morning.
doesn't get you because you're not a morning person. That gets you because you've been awake for 12 hours.
No, for me, it's because it's the
overnight.
exact same if I come in for a morning shift. I feel exactly the
Still
same.
got a woolly
At
head in the
7 to
morning.
9.
Yeah.
How, whether you're at the end of a shift or the start of a shift,
Yep.
you feel exactly the same.
In fact,
That's-
I feel better.
That's not
having
right.
come off the back of a night shift in the morning than starting a day shift.
That is, there's something profoundly and clinically wrong with you,
It's
Michael.
diagnosable.
Yeah, and then the best thing is, so you can get up at around 3 or 4 in the afternoon, and you have that whole evening block.
Yeah.
And everyone else is just like, yeah, let's hang out with people, and you can do that. And
That's
then be like,
true.
you know, what, guys, I got to go. I just got to head off to work.
That's
Yeah.
kind of a
Gone
cool
through,
thing, isn't it?
Sleep through the day.
I got a friend who's
Back
a
up to
cop,
do it again.
and she said she does the same thing on night shift. So she actually gets home at like 7 or 8, goes to sleep, wakes up at around 3 or something, then goes out, has dinner with people,
Yeah.
hits
Yeah.
the gym, goes to work.
That's often what I do on
Perfect.
night shift too. You know, have dinner at someone's place and then leave from there.
It's a pretty cool way, and let's be honest, you feel like a cool kid. You're out there, you know, everyone else is just ready to vegetate and go to bed. You're like, sorry, fellas, I'm off to work.
Yes,
Yeah,
So
that's
what are
right.
you doing? Sleeping? You weakling? I'm going to go earn some money. All right, I'll see you later. Like, it's cool like that. I'll tell you what's been cooking me of late.
Yeah.
So one of the shifts that I don't think you guys would have it in your sort of professional capacities, the split shift.
Explain.
So what I do, I mean, today is a good example.
Today is a split shift.
So today I worked from 7 till 10,
Mm-hmm.
and then I worked from 3 till 7.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's a split shift. And luckily, it's in the same suburb as I live. I've
Okay.
got some boys like rolling in from 40 k's away to come and do
Oh,
3
gosh.
hours in the morning and then go back and then. So that would be an absolute
That's
pig.
rough.
It's a word of the day. But it's the tough thing I found about that is you always cut yourself a bit of slack after work. You're like, I need a wind down.
Yeah.
But if you only do 2.5 or 3 hours in the morning, you're like, good, I'm up, got stuff to do. And so what I do is I get up, I go to work at like 6:30 or 7, crank out a couple of hours, and then get home. It's like, you beauty, let's crank out some housework. Let's go see some people. And you're going, and then you go back to work and you keep going. And so it's basically just like a 12-hour shift
Yeah.
of just cranking it out. And then so those days cook, even though you only end up doing like 6 hours,
Yes.
7 hours.
So
Like,
it's all of the downsides of shift work
yes,
with none of the benefits of the pay.
absolutely. Yeah, you don't get any loading or anything.
Yeah, because it's
like,
all
Because
daytime.
you've done 4 hours of work.
Yeah, I think there's like a 15%
Oh, for the afternoon.
for the afternoon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So loadings, oh boy, loadings are good.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
The you guys would see this too. You see your paycheck and you're like, oh, cool. And then you actually take a glimpse at what your actual wage is, and you're like, that is in no way reflected in what I get every
Yeah.
fortnight.
Yeah.
Just because like Sunday's double time, Saturday's time and a half, whatever. There are enough public holidays around, and you got your overnights and your
Yeah. I was
Yeah.
so surprised when I started work because the award doesn't account for your
No.
for your
None
things.
of
So when you Google nurse's salary, it gives you a yearly thing that increases year by year. Then you actually start working. You're like, I'm getting 20 grand a year more than what I thought I would be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I've told you this before as yet, but I've actually just about bought a house,
you beauty.
Oh, cool.
That's exciting.
which is very exciting, except that has come in to bite me because getting a loan when you earn twice as much as you're actually told that you earn is very difficult. So I had a lot of trouble with the bank saying, you don't earn that much. I'm like, yeah, I do.
Trust me.
I heard of a mortgage broker that specializes in healthcare
Yeah, they exist.
things.
They're
yeah,
brilliant.
because they can verify that this person does this job, and of course they get paid more, even though their contract
Yes.
doesn't say that they do.
Yeah.
And-
It's taken me a long time to kind of convince them. It's like, actually, no, I'm going to make
And-
a good amount of money. I'm a very safe bet.
Yeah, and
Even
the-
though this number says this.
And the other benefit is that those people have heaps better job security, like health people.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, you're never out of a job kind of thing.
People are going to be sick always.
That's the general idea.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you have better job security, you have more earning power than you look like you do, so they help you out.
Cool.
Pretty cool.
Well, look, there are probably some people who listen to the podcast who might be about to start shift work. Because there's probably, what, 3 of them?
3 of them.
One of them might be a person who's looking into shift work as a
1/3
possibility.
of our audience.
It is possible. If you could have one piece of advice for them, what would it be?
Plan ahead.
Yep.
Be proactive.
Diary.
Get your diary happening, iCal, whatever you got on your weird Android phones. Do whatever you can to plan, because otherwise it will just eat you, and you will be one of those depressing people that do nothing but work and grind your teeth along the ground, hating your life for the rest of your days because you didn't take 5 minutes at the start of the week to write some stuff in your diary.
Yeah.
Like, that's all I've had started doing. You see my diary and Elby's diary over there
Yeah.
on the. It's Monday tonight. Well, we're recording. we get our diaries out every Monday. We synchronize, we book stuff, and then we do it. Like,
Yeah.
Very cool.
And I would be one depressed dog if I did not do that. You know,
Yeah.
Even I have started using a diary. Which
crazy.
is phenomenal craziness.
I can't believe there's a point in your life where it gets less chaotic.
I know.
That is crazy.
That's how it is.
Yeah.
I reckon for me, roster requests. So I'm sure not every place has that ability, but if you can, and even if like you're the assertive, you make yourself the assertive one, and like even if you're the only one who's asking the person who does the rosters for certain days on or off or whatever, just try and organise it. Like if your roster tends to have night shift, then an afternoon shift, then a morning shift, or a morning shift, then a day off, then a night shift, and they're just kind of random, try and get them more organised. Just ask. I found it really helps people. They're pretty willing. The person who does the roster is a human. They don't generally do night shift, and they understand that it's probably pretty hectic.
I found
Yeah.
most people that don't do shift work are way too apologetic for what it's worth.
Yeah.
And they're all like, "Oh, you do shift work. I'm so sorry. Let me look after you. It's all right. I'm sorry."
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, so use that to your advantage is what I reckon. Yeah, request your roster, and so you know what you're going to get, basically, so that you can plan.
And that's just on that, like, all the work that we do is often high stress, sometimes high turnover, but often, like, people can get crook pretty easily in these professions.
Yeah.
So there are times when I saw a person who didn't work for my organisation but worked in disability. They'd work 41 days straight.
Oh,
and
that's illegal, isn't it?
some of it is, yeah.
Yeah.
And again, I stress not my organisation. I don't know who it was for, but they were just telling me about it. It was crazy. And being assertive pays off because they ended up saying no to the 42nd shift in a row.
Yeah, fair enough.
Why didn't you reach that point about 35 shifts ago? You know what I mean? Like you're gonna if someone's just gonna keep pulling from you before you say no, just say no nice and early and get used to saying no.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. My one piece of advice.
Yep.
Learn to enjoy the time you have off.
Good
Right?
word.
A lot
Yeah.
of people will spend a lot of time on shift work going, "Oh, it's not a Friday night, so I can't have fun." My friends only catch up on Monday evenings
Yeah.
to watch a movie. I can't enjoy that. So all of my off time has to be a waste. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Find ways to enjoy your time with whatever you do, because if you don't take the time off, and that's probably the best thing about shift work, is you actually get a fair bit of time off because of the shifts you're putting in.
That's how I found time to learn keyboard, actually.
Yeah, there
Oh,
you go.
I just
really?
realised I had midweek few hours that I was wasting playing computer games or whatever, or doing nothing, mowing the lawn, useless waste of time.
I've got a
Yeah,
story to tell about that one.
Let it
Yeah,
go to
tell
the
you.
dogs. Yeah.
Yeah, so I just decided to do something I always wanted to do, learn piano properly. And there you go.
Very good. Well, guys, do you have any parting comments before we wrap up this topic on shift work?
Yeah, I do have a little thing. It's kind of related. The other day, especially like most shift work. I don't know actually. I have no idea. I'm just saying this out of my head, but I would say
It's
a
all right,
lot
you're
of
on
shift,
the podcast.
a lot of
whatever
shift-
you say goes.
Yeah, a lot of shift workers would be in like a compassionate carer kind of job.
Yeah.
Yeah, wouldn't you think? A pretty big proportion.
I reckon.
I mean, because this is shift truck drivers and pilots and all that kind of thing, but still.
That's true.
Probably in the minority, if you like.
Pilots, I would say pilots are compassionate and caring as a general rule of thumb.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but it
Sounds like we're equivocating. Anyway,
it doesn't connect to what I'm going to say. The other day at work, they were just going through some stuff about fatigue with us, because especially first responders like emergency nurses, paramedics, that kind of thing, just a huge target of burnout and that kind of thing. One of the things that they were explaining was that like you have this willpower bucket. The willpower is the thing that stops you shouting at your wife when you get home and that kind of thing. And like the willpower to get down and play with your kids rather than scroll through Facebook all night, or play a board game rather than turn on the TV and just veg out. She's saying there's 3 things that drain your willpower. One of them is compassion fatigue or carer's fatigue. The actual emotional caring about someone. The other one is mental fatigue, or decision fatigue. Like nurses and doctors especially, they have this massive prioritization thing where you've got, if you decide to add one thing into your to-do list, you've got to reprioritize the 100 things
Yeah.
that are below that. And so you just get this massive fatigue just from making decisions. And you before you realize it, you've made 1,000 decisions a day, like easily.
Yeah.
And that just hurts. And the other one is, I can't remember.
So
Some
there's
other cunt.
decision, mental.
Yeah,
Or were they the same one?
I was trying to figure out whether decision and mental were different ones, but I feel like she wrote decision fatigue and mental fatigue.
Oh,
But, yeah, 'cause
compassion,
there's
rather.
caring.
Compassion
There's-
fatigue.
There's the fatigue of looking after someone,
Yeah.
Yeah.
having that emotional load, and then there's the fatigue of having to contain a lot of information.
Physical. It's physical and mental.
Of
So
course,
mental is decision fatigue mostly for us, but physical fatigue. Running around all day,
Yeah.
resuscitating patients, doing CPR for 40 minutes. Exhausting
Tiring
things
work,
like that.
yeah.
Yeah. So you've got your physical fatigue, getting up early, going to bed late, that kind of thing, and your decision fatigue. I just said decision fatigue twice. I meant physical.
I think you might be experiencing a
Physical,
bit of fatigue right now,
Decision
Simon.
fatigue and compassion or carers fatigue. So
Yeah.
they're just things you got to kind of watch out for, and make sure you eat healthy as much as you can.
Mm-hmm.
Avoid sugar on night shifts because it'll kill you.
Simon did bring 1.5 kilos of M&Ms
Yeah, but
to
I'm not on a
tonight's
night shift.
recording.
I'm going to go to sleep. 4
You're gonna get
a.m.
diabetes.
when you're dying and you think, I need something.
Mm.
Coffee and sugar, not going to help you.
Yep. Because
make
you'll
it
hit
worse.
a brick wall at 6. Everything will crumble.
And then you
all
can't
around
and then
you.
you can't give handover and you're like
I would
falling
recommend
over yourself.
a tall glass of chilled water.
Tall glass of chilled water.
We have chilled
Surprisingly,
water
yes.
on tap in ED, and I
Nice.
drink buckets of it on any shift.
Wow.
It just keeps
Very
me going.
invigorating, yeah.
Especially when you don't get a break and you're starving hungry.
That is the
Swallow a
worst.
few buckets of cold water.
Cool. Well, guys, look, it's been awesome fun having you along. You can check out all our old episodes at our website, threeviewson.com. We're also on the Apple Podcast thing. They've changed their names now. There's something new.
That's iTunes podcast still. It's just still the
It's-
podcast
it's
app.
rebranded, I
That's
think.
still the podcast app.
Okay, cool.
On
You
the
can get us
iPhone.
there. You can also get us on the Podbean app if you're an Android person. There's even a link if you want to bring your own podcast app to listen to us. I don't know if anyone actually ever does that. Oh, I think James Weller did.
He
for a
did it
little while.
that one time, yeah.
Yeah,
He
yeah. There you
probably
go.
forgot us a long time ago.
But yes, you can find us at threeviewson.com. Keep living the dream. Keep it real.